All right, what's happening, everybody? My name's Mr. Whiskers, and joining me tonight, my co-host, Grim underscore Reaper 91. You can see him right there at the top left. Grim and I have decided to create a new project called the Grim and Wiz Project, where we solely talk about video games and the things we love. A lot of the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight are going to revolve around Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Grim, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Wiz. How you doing?
Mm. Can't complain. Can't complain. Excited to get this project off the ground. Like the hat, by the way, bro.
Thank you.
So, Grim Reaper, yeah, bro. As you know, we've watched the lately. The most recent thing that came out with Resident Evil 9 Requiem was the gameplay trailer. You've seen that, right?
I did, yes.
And we basically we were tackling. What they were tackling there, what they were showcasing was it looked like just a lot of Grace in the hotel.
Yeah.
In a hotel. I don't know which hotel they're in. I'm kind of curious because, as you know, this past Thursday I was streaming Resident Evil Outbreak, which, ladies and gentlemen, this particular game right here, Resident Evil 9 Requiem's one of the main protagonists is Grace Ashcroft, who is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, who is from Resident Evil Outbreak. Now, here's some things that interesting me, bro. Tell me what you think about this. As I was streaming it Thursday, I finished the Hellfire scenario, which happened to be a hotel, and that's Alyssa Ashcroft's that's her particular scenario. From what I've been told, when you're playing the game, you can play as Alyssa there, and that's her main scenario that for her character. And now we're going back, looking at the gameplay from what was about a week or two ago.
I believe so. Yeah.
Right, they're in a hotel. The hotel apparently, from what I gathered right now, where Alyssa Ashcroft was murdered.
Right.
We saw that cutscene and everything like that, and it looks like we're going to be going back to that hotel where there is some freakish monster stalking us.
Yeah.
Do you think it's the same hotel from Hellfire?
It very well could be.
It's one of those things I've been really thinking about. We know that Raccoon City got bombed, right, at the end of Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
And clearly it wasn't like a nuclear explosion that wiped out every single building. There are still structures standing. So it just makes me wonder if this is a separate hotel from Raccoon City or if this is the said Hellfire Hotel from Outbreak.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Do you have any thoughts on that? What do you think? Do you think it could be that, or do you think it might be something different?
Well, to me, it would make sense. It would make sense for it to be that particular hotel.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, if you saw, the Raccoon City Police Department, right, the structure's still there. Granted, the roof was blown off of it and things like that, but
Yeah.
it's I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'm after completing that scenario Thursday on Twitch, I was like, damn, dude, could this be the hotel that the gameplay started off with for Requiem? Or is this something in the outskirts of Raccoon City that didn't get affected by the blast? It's interesting to me because you could see in the trailer for the hotel, you could see with the gameplay, there are still curtains hanging in the hallways and things like that.
Yeah.
So it really makes me wonder if this is maybe this hotel in Raccoon City was kind of in a far enough of the outskirts where it wasn't affected so much by the blast. It just took some of a beating, and that's why whatever the hell is in there or whatever's happening in there survived.
It's possible.
So what are some of your thoughts so far on Resident Evil 9 Requiem?
I really want to know what the hell that stalker enemy is.
Right? She looks pretty wild, dude.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been hearing a lot of rumors lately in regards to that. Some people are speculating that it could be Lisa Trevor,
I heard that. I've heard that.
or it could be Alyssa transformed.
I've heard that too. I've heard both of those theories as things have been you know being showcased lately, and like the Resident Evil fan base has mentioned those as well. Do you think it could be either one of those?
Well, I mean, as much as I want to lean towards it being Lisa, I personally I don't believe it is because she in this instance it's too for in my from my perspective she looks too tall to be Lisa.
That's true. That's true. I mean, when we saw Lisa back in Resident Evil HD Remastered, which, as we all know, Lisa Trevor was basically introduced in the remaster, Resident Evil HD Remastered. She wasn't in the original, so they definitely took a new spin on things, having Lisa Trevor be the daughter of Mr. Trevor, the man who designed the Spencer Mansion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So if you remember, Grim, you remember in Resident Evil HD Remastered when you had to fight Lisa Trevor, and in order to beat her, you basically had to push those pillars off the edge, which would open up the grave that was essentially that was her mother's grave, right?
yes,
That was her mother's tomb,
yes,
and then she pulls the skull out and just goes mother, and then just walks off this ledge into a dark abyss like this that we have no idea how far down this thing goes, right?
right,
Mm.
right.
So it's like, could this be Lisa Trevor over the years? Because we're going back to the events of Resident Evil HD Remastered. The events of the Spencer Mansion took place in 1998, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe so. Yeah,
Right? So that would mean it would be from 1998 to now, 27 years. If the events of Requiem take place in 2025, it would be 27 years of Lisa Trevor being at the bottom or wherever that pit led to.
right.
When you think about the evolution of Lisa Trevor and just what kind of like, the viruses and the things that they were pumping into her, injecting her with, that mutilated her and transformed her into that monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I could believe that Lisa Trevor, throughout 27 years, like her body evolved and changed through all the different things that she was put through and experimented on with. That maybe she could have grown to that size. Because I mean, this monster looks like easily. I think Nemesis was about 9 feet tall. Correct? I think Nemesis was about 9 feet, give or take.
I believe so. Yeah,
This monster, whatever this monster is called, we don't even know what this monster is called, right?
exactly.
Hmm. So it's like, could it be Lisa after all this time? And like her body's just morphed and evolved over 27 years, and she looks to be like 12, 15 feet tall.
Yeah. After hearing your theory, it does actually make sense. But I mean, man, but oh, that would be insane if it were actually her.
I know, right? It would be absolutely mind blowing because it would make sense if it is Lisa Trevor. It would make sense how she survived the blast of the Spencer Mansion, and then again, because the Spencer Mansion, as we all know, self-destructed.
Yeah,
They're trying to get rid of all evidence of Umbrella and the T virus in the Spencer mansion.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when that self destruct went off, and Lisa's at the bottom of a pit somewhere, maybe the blast never hit her. And even with Raccoon City being destroyed, she'd still be safe at the bottom of this pit, whatever the hell it is, or wherever the hell it leads to.
Right.
So, and we've seen like enemies like Nemesis, both in the remake and the original. The Nemesis Tyrant, his physical form changed throughout the gameplay.
It did. Yes.
You know, definitely more so in the remake, because we saw like that very animalistic dog-like Nemesis before he morphed into like that blob at the end,
Yeah.
and just became even more massive.
Right.
And that was in the course of a couple of days. The transformation of Nemesis. I could totally believe that this is Lisa. Do I think it's Lisa? I have. You know, I don't. It could be.
Right.
You know, it would be a very interesting twist, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Now, as far as Alyssa, I don't think it's Alyssa, but I do have some thoughts on that as well.
Right.
I don't think Alyssa is dead.
No.
Like, do you think that? See, this is what I think, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and what you think about this. But we see her in a cutscene getting murdered, right? But we also
Allegedly.
saw Jill Valentine. Yeah, exactly, right, dude?
Yes. Allegedly.
We also saw, allegedly, we also saw what we thought we saw back in Resident Evil 5, Jill Valentine
Yeah.
taking Wesker to a watery grave. And
Yeah.
she ended up, like later in the game, revealed to be alive and just kind of taken control of by Wesker.
Right.
So I could totally, I have this theory that Alyssa isn't dead. Like, she's not completely dead. Maybe she's being held somewhere and maybe she's in some kind of a coma. I don't know. I don't know. But I just, for some reason, I just got this gut feeling that Capcom's about to, like, throw some twists and turns in there where she's alive somehow.
You know what?
I don't think she's the monster, though.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm willing to bet that she's alive, or at least she's not dead. You know.
Yeah. I feel like it's like, you know, the way that Capcom tells their stories, right? Like, you remember Resident Evil 8?
Yeah.
Resident Evil 8 Village?
Yeah, I do.
And I remember, dude, you and I talking about that game, and we're like, how the hell are they going to explain lichens and vampires and swamp monsters in a Resident Evil game? Like, how is this tie into Resident Evil?
Right.
And then there you go. At the end, they literally just did this information dump on the player where all these files on the mutations and the mold and things like that, and how the mold was originally one of the first things that came into play before the progenitor virus, before that flower was found in, I believe it was Africa, right?
I believe so.
You know, and I think that's where that, you know, if I remember correctly, that's where the T virus was created from, that flower, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, just with Resident Evil Village doing things like that, they just kind of just hit us with that. Like, Capcom just hit us with that, and they're like, here you go. You know, this is how we tied everything together to make everything make sense, to kind of, you know, fill in the gaps.
Right.
I could believe that, like, with Requiem, we would definitely see, like, you know, there'll be some misdirection from Capcom. But I wouldn't be surprised if Lisa was still alive. I wouldn't be surprised if Alyssa was still alive.
No.
And I do think that this monster could be Lisa Trevor.
Yeah, it's a
And
possibility.
somehow whatever this hooded figure, we don't know who this is, but whoever this hooded figure is, could be holding Alyssa captive
Right.
as
That.
some kind of bargaining chip.
Yeah, yeah, it's a strong possibility.
Yeah. What are some of the things about Resident Evil 9 Requiem that you're excited about, brother?
Well, from what I don't know, from what I've heard in like interviews and like just general screenshots, from what I can gather, it seems like we'll be able to willingly alternate between third person and first person.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you want to, if you want to stay playing in first person, then you can, or if you want to switch to third, then you can. But so for me personally, that's going to be quite interesting because I mean, knowing how I go about certain things, uh, knowing me, I'll probably just play it in third person.
Yeah, I have seen I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great idea that they put into this game to give you the ability to switch between first person and third person.
Yeah,
Because I remember when Resident Evil 7 came out, I had lent it to a friend of mine to try, and he said like when him and his wife were playing that it was kind of like they were getting like motion sickness from it. So I do think that having that capability to alter your style of play and
yeah,
have a third person perspective, it just makes the game more approachable for everybody, you know?
right,
And just kind of, people that kind of get that motion sickness, well, now you just switch over to third person and you'll be fine.
yeah, that's true.
And speaking of the first person and third person, you remember we saw that was incorporated. They did that later on with Resident Evil Village, giving you that option to play as Ethan in third person.
Yeah,
So I think that's a really cool concept that they got going right now to allow players to do that. And just seeing that they tested the waters um, back when Village came out, and obviously with the RE engine being as badass as it is, you
right.
know, they've definitely smoothed out quite a bit.
They sure did.
It's awesome. It's really cool to see um, how this is unfolding, and it kind of bringing up Grace Ashcroft right now. We don't know who her father is, who her biological father is.
No.
All we know is I've heard theories that the reason why Grace has special blood, or like that she's the chosen one, the special one, is I've heard other streamers talk about this where other content creators had mentioned that at the end of Resident Evil Outbreak, you create an antidote to the virus that you have in the game. So for those of you that don't know anything about Resident Evil Outbreak, as you're playing the game, it's a level-based game where you play different scenarios. And throughout these scenarios, it's pretty much timed, where you have a virus meter, a little circular petri looking like dish, at the bottom right of your item menu screen. And as you're playing the game, you'll see the percentages go up on the virus that's in your body. And then once it hits 100, the level's over and your character dies.
Right.
So hearing these thoughts about this, I think they called it the daylight virus or the daylight serum or something like that. I still have yet to beat the game, so I think it's called daylight something. Apologize if I'm messing that up, but I've heard other streamers talk about this and say that that's potentially why Grace Ashcroft has this special blood because her mother injected herself with this daylight serum and then got pregnant with Grace, and like that DNA went into Grace Ashcroft, and that's why her blood is special.
Right.
Right? Because
Yeah.
like, isn't the cut scene where like she's being like upside down, like when she's captured or whatever, she's upside down. They're draining her blood,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard so far, and I can roll with that. I can actually believe into that theory and think that be true. That could very well be the case.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a very strong possibility. Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it's very exciting. I'm very excited to revisit Raccoon City. How do you feel about that?
It's gonna be nice.
You sound a little skeptical.
Well, I'm just curious to know how much of it we'll be able to explore. In the sense of, like, are we going to primarily be in the hotel for the majority of the time, or are they going to let us kind of, explore outside of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question right there. Like, yeah, how much of Raccoon City is going to be in the game?
Yeah.
From what we saw in the trailer, it looks like we'll definitely be revisiting RPD.
Yeah, at least.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they showed that. That was like the main focal point at the end of the trailer was like, take a look at this. Look what we brought back.
Right.
Could you imagine if we ended up having to go into like the nest area underneath the city again?
Oh man. That'd be interesting.
Oh. That would be pretty mind blowing right there.
Yeah.
What are some areas of the game, like if when the game comes out and we're back in Raccoon City, what are some areas that you would love to revisit in Resident Evil 9 Requiem?
Well, outside of the RPD, or in other words, other than the RPD. I mean, that being one of the most obvious ones, of course.
Yeah.
Would probably be like maybe, I don't know, maybe Kendo's shop, perhaps.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
That could be very interesting. That just kind of sparked something in my mind right now.
Yeah.
Imagine all this talk about Leon Kennedy being in the game, right?
Yeah, I'm still skeptical about that bit.
But think about this. Let's say, I don't know if it's been confirmed or not. But let's just say, for the sake of conversation, let's just say that Leon Kennedy is back and he is in Resident Evil 9 Requiem, maybe even as a playable character.
Sure.
I could definitely see him being a guide to Grace Ashcroft.
Right.
Or some kind of, unit that is dropped into the remains of Raccoon City to investigate. I could totally see where, like, going back to the Kendo's gun shop.
Yeah.
I could totally see a moment where Leon Kennedy finds himself back in Kendo's gun shop, and then we get cutscenes of flashbacks of Kendo coming out, and the scene with that very touching, very emotional scene with Kendo's daughter.
Yeah.
Flashing through Leon's, through his mind.
Right.
That'd be pretty wild, dude.
Yeah. That'd be an awesome callback.
That would be pretty intense. I kind of hope that we see things like that, right? Like
Yeah.
whoever you got to figure that they're going to bring survivors of the Raccoon City incident into this game, whether they're a playable character or an NPC.
Right.
You got to imagine they're bringing some of these characters back, and I would love to see flashbacks of RE2, RE3, the Spencer Mansion. Now, who's to say that you don't explore the Arclay Mountains for a chunk of the game? The Arclay Mountains are only, it's the outskirts of Raccoon City.
Yeah.
You know.
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind that, dude. That'd be a lot of fun.
Right.
Going through the Arclay Mountains, seeing the crashed helicopter again. Only this time, instead of seeing it through a cutscene, you're actually standing next to it and you're playing the game.
Yeah. Right.
How wild would that be?
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm pretty hyped for this whole thing, and like the closer and closer we're getting to February,
Yeah.
the more excited I'm getting. The more that Capcom's revealing to us, it's pretty damn exciting.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
damn
Not, yeah.
exciting.
Not long now, man. Less than about 6 months from now.
Yeah, yeah, dude. Yeah. Do you
Hmm.
think? Do you think we'll see? Because I feel like in almost all of the mainline Resident Evil games, there are two characters that you always play as. Do you think that that's going to be a piece of Resident Evil 9 Requiem where Grace Ashcroft will be playing as her through most of the game, but there will be a section, maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours of gameplay where we're playing as a different character?
Yeah, it's strongly possible.
Who, like, if there was one character from the Resident Evil franchise, survivors of the Raccoon City incident, who would you want that character to be for that particular section that you could play as again?
Well, considering I would imagine that a chunk of it, at least a part of it, will have to do with the RPD in some capacity. I'm assuming probably either. I mean, obviously, don't hold me to this 100%, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Either I don't know. It could be. I'm guessing. It could be Jill for all we know. Could be Leon or even Claire.
Who would you like to play as? If it was one of those, who would be the one that you would love to see back in the game? Love to go through Raccoon City again as this character.
For me personally, I'm gonna have to say Jill.
I'm right there with you. She is by far my favorite in the Resident Evil franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, me being a little biased, like, we only got to play as her in the first Resident Evil 3, and then really you don't get to play as her again until the expansion in 5?
Yeah, in the Last Escape and Lost in Nightmares, if you play from her perspective, if you're playing with either with a partner or by yourself.
Yeah.
But,
So I'd love to, be able to play as her as a character again.
yeah, in the official capacity or in the actual where she's the primary character. Yeah. We haven't played as Jill in a main entry as her being the primary person since Resident Evil 1 and 3.
Yeah.
So
It'd
yes,
be great if they brought her back.
yes, definitely, it would be.
Hmm. Let's see what What else can we dive into? Oh, going back to the first person and third person perspectives, since now we'll be able to alter which perspective we play as.
Yeah.
I've heard some things from the developers, which I thought were pretty interesting, and I'm kind of curious as to whether or not you're going to play suit with that or if you're going to keep it in third person the whole time. So the developers, I believe, I heard the developers say that the idea of this game is so, and they, this is where I believe that we are going to see one of the original Raccoon City survivors again.
Yeah.
Is because the developers basically showed a little bit of their hand where they were like, their idea of the game, the way they would like it to be played, is that when you're playing as Grace Ashcroft, that she is played in first person perspective,
Right.
first person view. And that when you're playing as the other character, whoever it may be, again, I don't know, I've heard a lot about Leon Kennedy. I have not personally seen any evidence that states he's definitely in the game. I've seen a lot of AI generated stuff, but until I play the game in its entirety and see Leon Kennedy with my own eyes, I'm not believing everything I see on the internet.
Yeah, neither am I.
But what I heard is the second character in this game, the second protagonist you play as, that the developers had designed that particular part of the story to be played in third person.
Right.
So, is it something like, I know you were saying earlier that you were going to be playing in third person, so are you going to be playing in third person throughout the entirety of the game? Or you, after hearing what I just said, are you considering going through it the way the developers have talked about, where you play as Grace in first person and whoever this other character is going to be in third?
Knowing me, I'll probably go ahead and alternate.
Mm. Nice. I heard some interesting things too, bro. I heard some very interesting things where through the gameplay, I believe it was the YouTube channel Residents of Evil.
Yeah.
I believe that's where I saw this on, that they had talked about seeing Grace run around in third person. She seems a little slower and a little bit more clumsy. She seems to trip a little bit more.
Right.
When running from the stalker enemy. And then in first person, it just seems a little bit more fluid, and not as clumsy.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, I think I heard that from Residents of Evil. Not 100%. I can't, my memory is not the greatest in the world, and with all the videos and content that's been coming out revolving around Requiem, I can't remember for sure if I heard that from them. So I apologize to Residents of Evil right there if you watch this, but I'm pretty sure I heard it from their channel.
Right.
So I'll tell you what, man. I would love to see characters. Ladies and gentlemen, from Resident Evil Outbreak. Whether they bring Kevin back, or Cindy or Yoko. I imagine if they were to bring any of those characters back, they'd have to bring the younger ones back, because when we're thinking about, how old these characters would be in this game,
Right.
you imagine Mark in Resident Evil Outbreak already looked like he was in his 50s. So even if his character was still alive during the events of Requiem, he would, he'd be well retired, probably on a beach somewhere,
Right.
So, but yeah, I'd love to see some of those Outbreak characters come back and maybe assist Grace in some way, shape, or form.
Right. That'd be a nice touch.
Yeah, it'd be pretty wild. And of course, you know me, dude. I'd love to see Carlos Rivera come back.
Right.
Make a cameo, even if it's just a cameo.
Sure.
or like you said, it'd be great to see Jill again, Barry.
Right.
Other than Resident Evil Revelations 2, Barry really didn't get a lot of screen time, in any of the other games.
No, he didn't.
There was that alternate ending in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis where, like, he's the one that picks Jill up from the helicopter as the city's, like, being destroyed.
Yeah.
But what are some topics that you'd like to bring up about Resident Evil 9 Requiem? I feel like I'm doing a lot of the talking right now. I apologize if I'm kind of taking over the Grim and Wiz project.
No, I know it's cool. No, hey man, go ahead. I could just branch off stuff you're saying.
All right. Well, what are some topics you want to bring up? I'm curious as to some of your thoughts and feels about Requiem, and some of your hopes about the game and what they're bringing to the table.
Just, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're gonna bring back. They're finally bringing back after what? Say what? 9 years. They're finally bringing back like a horror element to it.
This is true. The last time we saw the horror element was RE7, right?
Yeah.
Is that really 9 years old already?
Right. Well, as of right now, it's 8.
8 years old?
Yeah. Yeah. It came out in January of 2017.
Hold on a second. I'm going to switch scenes real quick. Let's take a peek at when Resident Evil 7 release date. Yeah. Oh, yeah. January 24th, 2017.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't realize it was that old already. I feel like time is just flying by, bro.
Right.
Resident Evil 7 was released in January 2017 for PlayStation 4, Windows, Xbox One, followed by a cloud version for the Nintendo Switch in May 2018 in Japan, in December 2022 worldwide. PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions in June 2022, iOS, iPad OS, and Mac OS versions of the game were released in July of 2nd, 2024.
Right. So there are several ports of it. Yeah.
Damn. Do apologize for Grimm's camera disappearing there. The way that we're doing this show right now, being this episode 1, we are figuring out a couple of things. And anytime I switch a screen, his camera just kind of disappears for a second. But, anyways.
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's over 8 years old, going on 9.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be 9. January 24th of 2026.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. They are bringing back. Like, it looks like there's going to be a lot of jump scares, a lot of horror and tension in Resident Evil 9 Requiem.
Yeah.
And I couldn't agree with you more. Like, other than RE7, 8 had its little buildups of tension. Mainly, like, the way 8 was designed was it just looks like, the scariest place in 8 was, in Village was House Beneviento.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that still scares the fuck out of me. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, that part was so terrifying the first playthrough.
Yeah.
I was completely caught off guard. That baby burst through the door.
Yep.
And I was like, what the is that?
Yeah.
Definitely caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. How about when you go back and you play the Shadows of Rose DLC? right? I believe you go back to the House Beneviento,
You do.
and you have those fucking dolls, those mannequins, those with the glowing eyes. And
Yeah.
if you're not looking at them, they chase you.
Yeah, I'm still fucking stuck on that part. I still haven't beaten it.
Oh shit! You haven't beaten that one yet.
No.
It's freaking creepy, right?
Yeah, I'm like, how the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I genuinely don't know when I'll personally finish it.
Oh my god! Are you gonna stream it if you go back to it and to finish that part?
Yeah, I can.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that was a very very scary part of the game right there.
Yeah.
I remember at the time, like my chat was like, "Oh, get ready! This is gonna freak whiz out." As soon as I saw those mannequins, I was like, "No, no, 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 no!" You
Right.
turn around and you hear their footsteps bouncing around.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that shit was crazy, dude.
It was.
Mm. So yeah, no, I can't think of from January 24th of 2017 up until now, like what were some of the other? I know we had the remakes come out, RE2 remake and RE3 remake,
Yeah.
RE4 remake, which you know, they definitely amped up the just the atmosphere
Yeah.
in Resident Evil 4 remake, but it still wasn't something that was particularly scary, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And even going back to Village, I kind of felt the castle was short-lived. You know, I really felt that there was probably more that they could have added to that. You know, being stalked by Lady Dimitrescu.
Yep.
Like, I wanted that part to be longer.
Yeah, me too.
You know.
Yeah.
I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities from the titles from Village all the way up till now.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like even with Resident Evil 3 Remake, the RPD,
Yeah.
you know, we saw in RE2 Remake, you know, that hole that was burst through the wall. Then you go back to the RPD in Resident Evil 3 Remake, and that hole is completely sealed up. And it's like, well, what the hell made that hole in the wall?
Yeah.
You know, we all thought Nemesis was going to make an appearance there and chase Carlos around, and nothing.
Nope.
Like, I mean, even on a first playthrough, that was like a 30-minute section at best.
Yeah.
So what else? What else about? What else about Resident Evil you want to talk about?
Oh. Whoa. Oh, shit. Wait. Oh, wait. Yeah, wait, no. Fuck. I almost forgot. Wait, hang on. There's one detail I forgot to bring up.
Oh, yeah?
Regarding Requiem, though, not the previous Resident Evils.
Okay.
Okay. From what I remember seeing, they're not bringing the ink ribbons back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they did, but not in the way that you might be thinking. They brought it back as like I don't know, like just some random thing on like a shelf, but not in the traditional sense where they're like, hey, you need these ink ribbons to save.
Okay, so like almost like a collectible, maybe.
Kind of, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's tied to a trophy,
Oh, chances are it will be.
right?
Yeah. And of course, I know for a fact, despite the game not coming out for another 6 months, I know for a fact they're gonna have collectibles and collectible trophies and shit like that. You're gonna have to get all the files and this and that and the third. You're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to do a playthrough of not healing, and yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, granted, I could be wrong, but based on previous Resident Evils we've played,
Hey,
yeah, I just, yeah, no.
exactly. Whether we're right or wrong about this, again, we can have fun and just create our own thoughts and ideas and
Sure,
theories,
sure, sure, yeah.
Because even if we are wrong, it'll just make it more fun when we do play through it and be like, wow, wasn't expecting that. That was different.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Like, again, I was saying earlier, I had all these ideas about Lisa Trevor and Alyssa Ashcroft, and I have no evidence backing any of this up. These are just theories of mine that I'm kind of having a little fun with. And, you know, I will be blown away if by playing the game, they're like, it is Lisa Trevor. I'm like, oh my God, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, going back to the whole trophy thing, I know you as a trophy hunter, and as a man that has a bunch of platinums. Which, by the way, can I ask the question? How many platinums are you up to right now?
Well, I just got my 511th recently.
Jeez, bro.
Yeah.
511 platinums. Let's go.
Yeah. Yep.
I got one myself.
You do.
I got. I'm 510 short of you. I remember, remember I told you, man, when Resident Evil 3 Remake came out, I was never one to go after platinums.
Right.
And then after having conversations with you about trophy hunting,
Yeah.
and I remember you telling me just getting the most out of the game you can, like you spend the money on it and you want to get every dollar's worth out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that is one way to look at it right there. Like, I'm just sitting there, I'm beating the game, and then, maybe I play it another time or two and then just kind of walk away and move on to something else. And I'm like, wow. And I remember when Resident Evil 3 Remake came out, I was like, dude, I loved Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when I found out they were coming out with a remake, brother, I was like, dude, I'm finally going to get a platinum. And man, I wish I would have chosen an easier game than Resident Evil 3 Remake, because that platinum was brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Like that one right there. For anybody that might be watching this at some point, Resident Evil 3 Remake's platinum involved you, a lot of different tasks you had to get to, but one of the main ones that gave me a headache, and I'm sure I'm not the only one it gave a headache to, was beating the game on Inferno difficulty. And I'll tell you this. Didn't matter how many infinite ammo weapons you had or how many of those defensive coins you had. Once you got to the final nemesis, his RNG was so out of control that I think it took me 3 streams. Because I do like short, like 3 to 4 hour streams. For me, that's like an average stream length.
Mm-hmm.
Took me about 3 or 4 streams. I think I died over 100 times just on that boss fight alone. Definitely don't ever want to have to re-platinum that game.
Yeah, yeah. After doing that shit twice, I'm not doing it again.
So, we were talking about things that could be tied to trophies and for Resident Evil 9 Requiem, and you were talking about the ink ribbon, that it's going to be there in some shape or form, but not to save the game, just as kind of a memento.
Yeah.
To the earlier titles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we talked about how that could potentially be like finding that might unlock one of the more basic trophies, one of the more simpler achievements
Right.
as a trophy hunter, Grim.
Yeah.
Do you think you've platinumed a large amount of the Resident Evil titles, if not all of the main ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All of them except one.
Which one which one do you still have to get a platinum for?
Resident Evil Revelations 1.
Oh yeah, duh. I don't know. See, I'm a dumbass, dude, because I know that's one that we've been working on raid mode together off and on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, other than that one, I have all of my Resident Evil games platinums except that one.
Shit. Okay, dude. Um, so with that being said, with your history of Resident Evil platinums right now, are you excited for trophy hunting and Resident Evil 9 Requiem, or do you have some concerns with the history of the Resident Evil franchise and some of its more difficult trophies to get? Is there anything in RE9 Requiem from what we know about the game so far? Are you excited or are you intimidated in any way?
I'm looking forward to it, but the only thing that's going to piss me off is, I mean, chances are they're going to do this anyway because they've been doing this for forever. I swear to God, if they make a fucking high difficulty trophy, that's going to be a pain in the ass. It's just, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
What were some of the higher difficulty trophies in the earlier games that gave you problems with?
Having to beat Resident Evil 0 on hard on a fresh save. I'm like, fuck me.
Oh man, yeah, I could see that. I had a hard time when I did my first playthrough of RE0,
Yeah.
and I played it on normal difficulty because as a gamer and a fan of Resident Evil since I was about 8 or 9 years old, I've been playing these games a long time, and anytime I've ever done a first playthrough of any of them, I've always played it on normal. And how difficult RE0 is, even on normal. I remember I got to that bat fight, and I had very little resources left, and just found myself like hard locked and having to reset, start a new file, and play on easy difficulty.
Yeah.
Just to get the lore of the game.
Right.
So I was like, wow. So like, yeah, looking at Resident Evil 0, playing that on hard mode, I can't even imagine how difficult that was to finish and get accomplished that trophy.
Yeah. Let's just say I couldn't do it by myself. I had to use a guide. I had to use a walkthrough. I couldn't do it by myself.
There's no shame in that, brother. Listen, I just told you I had to bring it down. In order just to beat the game, I had to lower the difficulty to easy. And it still took me quite a while. Quite a bit of time to just get through the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, it brings the question of Resident Evil 9 Requiem.
Mm-hmm.
How many difficulties do you think we're going to see?
Probably, I'm guessing at least 3.
Right? Guaranteed 3. Casual or like assisted.
Yeah.
Normal, and then hard or hardcore.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah.
Because could you imagine if they decided to take the Resident Evil 3 remake route?
Oh,
and then after you beat hardcore, you unlock Nightmare. And then after you unlock Nightmare, you unlocked Inferno.
Yep, and then I'd be like, yeah, fuck, I'm sorry, but fuck this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this platinum. At least not right now. No.
That would take a long time to platinum, I'd imagine. Dude. That would be pretty insane, bro.
Yeah.
However,
However,
my allergies are getting to me a little bit.
However, it will be pretty cool if they bring back, infinite ammo.
Oh yeah, right, dude. Like I'm sure in some capacity. I hope they bring back some infinite ammo just for like new game plus speed runs.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Actually, hey, actually, not. Hang on. Not wait. Now that you bring that up, now that you bring up the subject of speed runs, I'm willing to bet 100. You know, all the money in the world that that's going to be another trophy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very well could be a possibility. Oh, I'd like to go even a little deeper with this, bro.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that there's going to be a trophy tied to the time, like beat the game in under 6 hours or 5 hours, because it looks to me like RE9 Requiem is going to be a lengthy game.
Right.
You know, I got some feelings that this game is, this is not going to be an RE3 remake scenario where your first playthrough it only took 6.5 hours. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that this, at best, in the very least, is going to be an 18 to 20 hour first playthrough.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine so.
so I would not be surprised if we saw a trophy, a harder trophy to get, like beat the game in under 5 hours.
Right.
Hopefully there'd be no difficulty attached to that trophy. Like, it's like, okay, well, then I'm gonna play it on easy, and I'm gonna have an infinite rocket launcher, hopefully.
Perhaps. Yeah. Yeah. That is
Excuse
true.
me.
That is true.
Hmm. So, what about? I have a thought right now. Imagine this. You ready for this, dude?
Yeah.
So you remember in Resident Evil 4 remake where you had to get through the minecart section without taking any damage?
Yeah.
What if they brought that into Resident Evil 9 Requiem, but you had to get through the entire hotel without taking a hit from this stalking monster?
Oh Jesus Christ. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I can already tell you right now that'd be the biggest pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah, this monster looks like it knows where your every move is. Like it knows where you are. It's like I thought like throughout the gameplay that they released, players that did the demo, that played the demo,
Mm-hmm.
talked about if you hide underneath the same table too many times, it's going to figure it out and it's going to find you under the table.
Oh Jesus.
That's this is what I've heard so far from the bit of research I've done on RE9
Yeah.
Requiem. That the demo they talked about, like, yeah, no, if you're like hiding underneath a bed, at some point it's going to figure out you're underneath the bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm. And that right there, you know what vibes that gives me, bro?
What's that?
Alien Isolation. I had heard that the xenomorph in the game Alien Isolation had two different AIs built into it. And one of the AIs knew what room the character was in,
Right.
and the other AI was like the hide and seek, like searching for the character. So, like, if it knows you're in one section of the ship, that's where it's going to be. Like, if it knows that you're like in the med bay area, it's going to be stalking around the med bay area looking for you.
Right.
So I wonder if Capcom had taken some ideas from Alien Isolation, because from the things that we've heard so far about hiding underneath tables, hiding behind, hiding underneath, like, I'm just going to use the table as a reference. Go there enough times, and it's going to figure it. This monster is going to figure it out. So I wonder if they used, were influenced by Alien Isolation for this stalker in this game to some capacity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's possible. Yeah.
Hmm. How crazy would that be? We find out that this monstrous thing chasing you around this hotel
Yeah.
has two different AIs built into its mechanics.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Oh man. I am so looking forward to this. And like you said, we have a little like around 6 months to go. A little less than a little less than 6 months now
Yeah.
before we get to finally experience Resident Evil 9 Requiem. And I'll say this. I'll ask. We'll go. Let's go over because I don't have too much more to add to this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're hitting about that hour marker.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll bring up one more thing here.
All right.
So, I don't know. I imagine with the release of RE9 Requiem
Mm-hmm.
coming out February 27th, 2026, I believe that's going to be like the 30-year anniversary for Resident Evil, correct?
Um. I don't. Well, on the dot, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think like to the day, but like 2026. I
Well,
think
yeah.
Resident Evil came out in 1996, correct?
Yes, it did.
So
Yes.
I believe this will be the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil, and now we're going to be getting this incredible title.
Yep.
What I wanted to bring up before we close off the show is you and I have talked about deluxe editions over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
I can only imagine that Resident Evil 9 Requiem is going to have probably more than just one deluxe edition. Like I'm willing to bet they'll have the standard edition,
Yeah.
then a just basic deluxe package, and then I'd imagine that they'd have other like even bigger packages that come along with it.
Yeah.
At least like I could see like a standard, a deluxe, and then like a golden edition, right?
Yeah.
Or like a Requiem edition. I don't know. But with that being said, when this game is, when it's available for pre-order and things like that, are you going to go with the standard edition, or if there are deluxe editions as well, are you going to consider one of those?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely gonna go for a deluxe edition.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
I feel the same way because I know, Grim, as we were talking about this earlier, and you are very much like, I know you're a couple years younger than me, but you also got into Resident Evil right around the time it came out,
Yeah.
around 8 years old, give or take,
Mm-hmm.
and same as me. And this this is by far, Resident Evil is one of my favorite franchises of all time.
Yeah, mine too.
It's up there for me with Metal Gear Solid. It's up there for me with Silent Hill, and pardon me. I definitely myself will be taking a peek at what the deluxe editions are going to look like if they have them.
Right.
Again, 30 years of Resident Evil. If Capcom doesn't have a deluxe edition or like some kind of golden edition upon the release date, then they really missed out on some opportunities. But yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. I definitely want to get myself at least the deluxe edition.
Yeah, at least.
If it's affordable enough for me.
Well, speaking of the pricing, based off of previous Resident Evils, man, I mean, I could be wrong, and I'll take this all back if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But as of right this second, I'm willing to bet that the standard edition's only gonna be $60.
$60, yeah.
Yeah, like always.
Yeah. It'd be like $64.95 or something like that.
Yeah, but obviously the deluxe edition will be an extra $10.
Yeah, you got to figure. Like, I'm willing to pay. If it comes with like digital artwork and some soundtracks and things like that.
Sure.
I'm willing to pay upwards of $80 or so for Resident Evil 9 Requiem for a deluxe edition of it.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, if it happens to be that it's just the standard edition and then the deluxe edition, and that's all we get, and like, you know, the deluxe edition is $100, that's where I might have to pull back a little bit. Just because $100 for a video game, unless the bonuses that come with that deluxe edition are really insane, and like just like I have to have this, like I'm willing to go as far as $80 or so
Sure.
for a deluxe edition.
Yeah. Right.
So, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Grim and Wiz project. This is something that Grim and I, have come up with, and this is episode 1. We're going to be uploading these videos on YouTube, and we don't have a schedule or anything like that for when we're going to be doing this. It's kind of like whenever we both have a free Saturday evening.
Right.
And again, Grim, thank you for taking some time out today. Like, we both made time to put an episode together, and I had a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
Doing this episode.
Yeah. Thank you for collaborating with me.
Hell yeah, brother.
This is gonna be an awesome experience.
Yeah, man. I'm very excited about this, and to anybody that watches this, thank you so much. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care, everybody.
See you guys later. See you in the next episode.